Who are the biggest bullies in Smash Ultimate? The characters that always seem to be someone's worst matchups, the characters that beat the most characters in the game, and the characters that always feel like they're living hell for everyone else who plays it. We're going to be talking about that today, and I'm going to be doing a community tab video with this. So I'm going to be taking the responses you guys had to my post, and then just talking about it, and then giving my own thoughts about it. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, and I'd appreciate you being a part of that. Let's jump right into it. First, they're going to be coming from YZ9156. Sorry if I mispronounce all these tags. I feel like Ice Climbers bully half the characters and are bullied by the other half. I'm not 100% sure because there's only like 3 people who play this character, and I very much tend to agree. It feels like Ice Climbers have one of the most polarizing matchup charts in the game. Either they destroy you by comboing you and making sure you can't move in neutral by doing just the wind moves constantly and making it so hard to get around them, especially if you're a brawler type, or you play someone like Rob or Min Min or Snake where they can't even get close at all. It's easy to separate Nana and they're just always ready to die every time they get hit. It feels like they're one of the most weird characters to place in the tier list because of that. But yeah, I still think they're a pretty good bully, but not that good since there are a lot of relevant characters that beat them. Iron3452 says Game & Watch. If you don't have a good neutral and landing game, he can sort of just bully you. Made even worse if you're big, as you're probably going to get eaten up by his Nair. And yeah, I think everyone's going to probably pick one of the top 3 characters in the game, and if I can't pick Sonic and Steve, then Game & Watch is a great third choice. Definitely known as one of the best cheaters in the game, Game & Watch is extremely stressful and is really good against so many different types of characters that it feels like he would be in contention as one of the best bullies in the game. Goldfish Ben says Hero versus any zoner and Min Min / Diddy Kong versus sword characters. Just the fact that Hero has access to bounce, which automatically reflects projectiles, can make him extraordinarily stressful. I can definitely see him beating just the entire archetype of projectiles, just making sure that he has side B, bounce, reset auto, and when they start camping, he can just start camping for his best buffs, making it so he's very stressful for a lot of those characters. I do think since he does lose to the other archetype, which are characters that run him down or make it so he can't always get what he wants with his menu, that I think he isn't the biggest bully, but when it comes to projectile characters, he for sure is. Similarly, with Diddy Kong being able to deal with sword characters very well, having Banana in his hand, making it so they can't really swing in neutral very easily, and having Monkey Flip, which makes him have 2 of the best whip punishing tools in the game, I can definitely see a lot of stress coming from fighting Diddy Kong, but I don't know, it kind of tends to happen where Diddy Kong does beat these characters, but only really slightly, and even still, since a lot of these characters are like the best characters in the game, you don't see Diddy Kongs just constantly being thrown out. They're usually just like Diddy Kong mains, they're like, yay, I got a good bracket. Not so much like, I'm going to counterpick Diddy Kong against these sword characters because they're just better options out there, like Min Min. Even though I think Diddy Kong can beat most of the sword characters, if you want to play a character that makes it unfun, you play Min Min. This character makes it so that you try to use your range at all. She has 10 times the range and also throws you off stage and makes it so that your recovery, that tends to usually not be that very good, gets destroyed, and it's nasty. I think a lot of people hate fighting Min Min. I think Min Min's probably going to be my choice for the biggest bully just because she beats so many types of characters in this game. Diddle2415 says ZSS for some reason. Mobility like that, safe posts, disengage options, and make her hell for slower characters. I think ZSS is in an interesting spot because while it's understood that she takes a lot more effort than other characters, she can be really tough to touch with certain characters, especially if you're just a little bit slower than her. She is so fast and so nimble that she's like one of the hardest characters to touch in the entire game. I think second only to Joker, because I think Joker's hitbox shifting is ridiculous. But yeah, I do think that because she takes so much effort that I wouldn't really call her a bully, more that she's obnoxious. And obnoxious, while is pretty annoying and having to deal with that can be a turnoff for some people, isn't really saying that you straight up lose, or even if you do lose, doesn't mean you lose that hard. I think she does beat like the heavy characters very well, and I think she outmaneuvers like the super slow characters, but that's probably around 20 characters that other characters probably beat just as hard. CCC says, I think one of the biggest bullies is Snake. The win con against Snake is if you can get past his wall of explosives. Sadly, a lot of characters can't tick that box. You can't autopilot against Snake or you lose, and even good characters can just lose by getting walled. Those who know me know that I'm a gigantic fan of solo maining Snake. I think he's one of the few characters that can actually do it because he can always adapt to whatever situation he's in just by either camping more, cooking his grenades more, being more aggressive with his tilts. There's always a way for Snake to win any matchup in the game, and I really think that if there's a character who's the most consistent, if I had to make that designation, it's probably Snake. When it comes to matchups though, I feel like his disadvantage is usually seen as bad enough that even matchups that he like wins very well, he can still get blown up. Like he fights any of the heavy characters, that's kind of his big issue, is like he fights the Donkey Kong that gets the right hit or the right grab, that he dies to nonsense constantly, or he fights against a character just fast enough to just put him in disadvantage for a while. I do think he can adapt very well, and his conditioning is extremely good, especially because grenades are super obnoxious. But the characters that can't really tick the box of getting through his wall of grenades are just usually the slow ones. And even the slow ones are just like, if they're just the bad characters, then sure, I think Snake is really good there. But I don't know many characters that Snake is their worst matchup other than the low mid tiers. Like I think probably Ice Climbers for sure is pretty bad. But yeah, I'm blanking on like any matchups that people are like, man, I hate fighting Snake. I think a lot of people who like fighting Snake, or even if they don't like fighting Snake, know their character can do something about him. It's a very interesting case because I know he's broken and I still think he's like probably top 4 in the game, but who knows? I feel like I probably have to talk to more Snake mains about this. How many characters do they actually destroy, and figure out what's going on. Boat Dog Gaming 4075 says Kazuya, Luigi, and Min Min are all big bullies. They can all kill you super easily and invalidate over half the cast. They also all have way too much pressure that can easily apply to your shield. The only characters that beat them are characters with strong aerial pressure. If your character excels at being grounded, you get cooked. Kazuya, Luigi, and Min Min all have nonsense, and I'm not going to disagree with that. I think Kazuya is the stupidest of all 3 of them, but yeah, I probably would say that if Kazuya is my choice for who beats the most characters, I feel like he might not be, just because I think of like the characters that tend to do well against him still are susceptible to like getting 0 to death and still getting like dash through and attack through, and he still has dumb combos. Like all that stuff's still true, but he does have a disadvantage that's exploitable, and he does have a jump squat that can be used against him. Like I think even characters something like me Sword Fighter can actually do well against Kazuya just because of that. Chrom can do well because of that. I think he beats characters the hardest. Like the characters he beats, he destroys, which is pretty good for the bully. I think like just trying to decide who their strongest bully is, I think Kazuya probably will be the strongest, but who beats the most characters, we'll have to wait and see. And finally, Aiden says, I hate Aegis. So true, Aiden, so true. So with all the posts out of the way, who do I think actually is the biggest bully in Smash Ultimate? Well, it might not have surprised you if I don't include Sonic or Steve. I think it's Mr. Game & Watch.
That should do the trick. Just as I suspected.
I think Mr. Game & Watch has one of the best matchup charts in the game without being Sonic or Steve. Let's start with what we're going to be talking about, the characters who are probably in contention. Kazuya, yes, he is very ridiculous, but he does have the matchup with Sonic, which is extremely hard, and he does have matchups where he has to actually get in and it can be a bit tough. Min Min, yes, her arms are insane and you can spam them from extreme distances, but there are characters out there that can beat the arms when they come out and can combo her to death or edgeguard her to death to make it actually difficult. I legitimately believe Game & Watch loses 2, maybe 3 matchups. He might lose to Sonic, he might lose to Pyramithra, and he might lose to Rosalina. I think every other matchup in the game is even or better. Like I said before, Game & Watch has probably the best upper in the game, probably the best down smash in the game, probably the best up B in the game. He has so many broken moves and a game plan that's extremely solid that he never really has to worry about adapting in a sense of like, oh, I can't use this move, or oh, this is going to be extremely tough for me to get in on. It's more like, oh, they're camping me more. How do I reposition myself and spam more moves to make it easier? He can beat so many characters extremely hard, destroys all the heavies, beats Kazuya, beats Honestly, I think he beats Fox extraordinarily hard, beats Pikachu, beats all the Shotos extremely hard, beats most of the sword characters that aren't Aegis. I think he is one of the best characters in the game at just making it so you can't do anything against his game plan. And his game plan is so good that even though Game & Watch was seen as kind of okay at the beginning of the game, it hasn't changed since the beginning of the game. They're still spamming Nair, they're still spamming up out of shield. Really, the only development is that Mia's playing. Like, it feels like Game & Watch has all the tools he needs to be the bully. Like, if you run into a Game & Watch, you better be ready, because it's going to be hard no matter who you are, except maybe 3 characters. And I think Game & Watch is not just the dumbest, but the biggest bully in Smash Ultimate. But yeah, tell me what you guys thought. I'm going to probably do more community posts and do more videos like this, because I thought it was pretty fun to see everyone's responses. I am so grateful for all the comments I've gotten, and I wanted to do videos where I can interact with you more, because I can't respond to everything and I can't like everything, but I see all the comments and I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.